What's going on, everybody? My name's Jimmy, and for those of you who don't know, I am the owner and founder of the Dr. Motorcycle business / YouTube channel. I'm going to be doing reviews here on my personal channel of a lot of the bikes that I've built. As I said on the full build video, I'm going to be riding this bike on this channel, so here we are. A lot of people are saying, where do you put your knee? Right now, unfortunately, I have to stick it out right now. When I built this bike, I didn't have the seat and the tail section on it, and I was sitting way further back. And I thought that, I thought the seating position was right here, but you end up sitting right here, which is why I made it like that. I'm working on a solution, guys. I'm going to be making an intake tube this way, and so that'll take care of that. You'll be able to put your knee in normally and ride the bike normally. It's not going to stay that way. People have been asking me a lot about the turbo, the carb, and people keep asking me what they call it the fueling thing. If we look closely, it's very difficult to see, but you can see this right here. This is what's called a Thunder Products Thunder Jet, and it allows you to control the fueling of the main jet at wide open throttle. The thing with the Thunder Jet is it allows you to run a smaller main jet, so the drivability is a lot better. The carb on this bike is actually a HSR 45 copy, just the generic ones off of eBay, and the turbo is a T25/T28 hybrid. It is a T25 turbine housing and exhaust wheel, and it is a T28 compressor wheel. And I did go ahead and put a carbon seal in this so it doesn't smoke like a chimney. If you don't put carbon seals in it, not only will it smoke, during engine vacuum when you're rolling off the throttle, the engine will pull oil out of the center section of the turbo, and then it dilutes your oil, and then it also dilutes the air fuel mix with oil, and it lowers your octane. So even on 6 or 7 pounds of boost, you'll get pre-ignition and knock. I am running a wideband O2 sensor. I'm not going to require this when I build kits for customers, because the first 5 or 10 kits that I build, I'm going to do it in my home shop, and they're going to be tuned with a wideband, and they'll just be street tuned, and I'll make sure the AFRs are nice and safe, and then the booster will be really conservative, probably 7 pounds on the Buellers and 8 on the Sportsters, because the Sportsters are lower compression. As of right now, we have a 50-50 mix of VP 110 and 91 octane. We're running about 10 pounds of boost right now because I have the higher octane gas in it. You guys will notice in the video that the clutch was slipping. I went ahead and just loosened up the clutch here with the lever because I noticed it was kind of tight. So we'll see if that takes care of it. I doubt it. That's the setup as it stands, guys. Let's hop on this thing and take it for a ride. $66,500 miles on this bike, guys. Now I'm gonna go ahead and switch to Super View. I'll see you guys in a sec. Alright guys, we're in Super View. Let's go for a ride. This bike is not very loud when you're just cruising around. I can sit here and talk to you guys normally, and it's not blowing out the speaker on my microphone. And the sound of the bike is actually super reasonable. Unfortunately, the GoPro doesn't really pick up how the bike feels. You watch it go into boost on video and you go, oh, well, that doesn't really look all that fast. When you have the camera lens all zoomed out like I do in Super View, it just makes everything look a lot, it just doesn't look as impressive. It's hard to kind of capture how the bike really feels. Another cool benefit to turbochargers is that if you ever want to sell the bike and you want to recoup most of your money, you can just pull the kit off and sell it. There's no reason why you couldn't ride the bike around for a couple of years, and then when you decide to sell the bike, if you're the type that doesn't keep bikes for long, you can just pull the kit off, sell the kit, and recoup 75 to 80% of the money that you spent on the kit. And you can't really do that if you do motor work. I mean, if you do motor work, you're pretty much just committed to whatever you do. Once you port the heads and you do big cams and you do all the supporting mods and you're $5 grand or whatever into the motor, I mean, that's pretty much it, man. I mean, I guess you can go more radical on the cam, or you can get more compression if you want to, but once you've done the max effort type of motor work, there's not much else you can do. How much power can you really squeeze out of a Evo Sportster base engine and have it be relatively streetable, not too aggressive on the valve train? I mean, 130 is probably pretty close to the upper limit. And then to get 130 on this turbo setup, I mean, I could make you a mechanical water meth injection setup, and we could just run it on 12 or 13 pounds, and boom, there you go. You got the stock drivability out of boost. You got the stock valve train. Not only would you have 130-ish horsepower, you'd have more than 100 foot-pounds of torque, which you're probably not going to do on a naturally aspirated build. And if you do that on a naturally aspirated build, it's going to be at a lot higher RPM. I missed that shift again, man. Now on that pole we hit just over 9 pounds of boost, so it's moving out pretty good for only being on 9 pounds of boost. And I think the density altitude today is close to 4,000 feet, so this is not good weather to be doing boosted poles, you know what I mean? If you're the type of guy that you really like the low RPM torque, say for example you're cruising along, I'm loafing along right now in 5th gear and we're doing the speed limit, and you're the type that likes to do this, you're probably not going to like the turbo all that much. Now right there just made, you know, a pound of boost or whatever, but if you're looking for something that's super snappy and you can just loaf along in 5th gear and it's like a diesel torque monster, I would just stay away from the turbo and just stay NA, man. The thing with the turbo setup is it adds the missing power that the Harley engines don't have at mid to higher RPM, and it just keeps pulling and keeps pulling. And I think that makes this bike a lot more fun to ride. The last thing I kind of want to mention, guys, is I'm sure a lot of you are wondering, why bother put a turbo on a Harley? Why you waste your time to do this? Why don't you just buy a faster bike? Blah blah blah, all that type of stuff. I want to bring more people who are from my generation, which is millennials, onto Harleys. You can have a lot of fun on these bikes, man, and there's a ton of them for sale. And if there's any bike that you're going to get into custom modifying where you want to learn how to work on your own bike, the Harley Sportster is probably one of the best ones to do it. I mean, there's so many parts. The parts availability, you can go to pretty much any dealer and buy gaskets for a Sportster that hasn't been made since 1994 like mine. But even parts on these old tube frame Buells, a lot of the parts, almost all the parts on the engines interchange. Another reason the Buells specifically are great in these old tube frame Buells is they're cheap. People think they're not reliable or whatever preconceived notions they have about Harley based Buells, especially the old tube frame Buells. These bikes, for some reason, I don't really know why, had a reputation for being kind of iffy on the dependability. And the main thing with these solid mount Sportsters and the solid mount Buells, the tube frame Buells, you just got to check your bolts, man. Stuff comes loose a lot. You got to put Loctite on everything. If anything's going to leave you stranded, it's usually something falling off just because they vibrate so much. So if you can get around that, I mean, these bikes do vibrate, but you can buy these bikes for dirt cheap. My uncle bought this bike as a parts bike for I think 1,200 bucks. This bike hadn't ran since 2017. I freaking cleaned the car, put gas in it, and fired right up. This bike has 66,520 miles on it, 66K, and here we are just cruising with a turbo on it on 10 pounds of boost. I mean, how is that not cool? And I think there is something to be said about being an American riding an American bike. You know what I mean? My voice just got real deep there. Brother. Oh yeah. Ride an American bike, brother. Finally got it. Alrighty guys, that's it for this one. Thank you so much for checking out this bike. Thank you so much for watching the video. We got a little leak here that I need to take care of. Just kind of the post-build type of issues that you have when you finish building the bike. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please let me know down below. And thank you so much, everyone. We'll catch you on the next one.